Morning everybody, another brand new Meccano Maker System set review for you, although this is one of the earlier releases, so it's probably been out a couple of months actually. It's the Aerial Rescue 20 model set and is available this morning anyway when I checked, anywhere between £22.50 and about £27, not including any possible postage and packing costs. As I say, 20 models, majority of which are flying models. The best one does seem to be, at first look, the A model, this one on the front there, the twin rotor Chinook type helicopter. And there's also a bonus little model as well, the little 4x4 there. 8+ years, 406 pieces. It tells us it's got the new quick snaps on the box, just there. Of course they're not really new now, are they? They've been around a while now. And on the back we've got the models that you can build from this set. As I said, majority of which are flying models of varying descriptions. That looks like an SR-71 spy plane, so it's hardly rescue, is it really? Well, I suppose it could be in some ways. But in itself that's out of date, I suppose. Plenty of aircraft of different styles anyway. Helicopters, no biplanes is there? No, we ain't gone that far back. Autogyro, which is going back a bit now really, I suppose. Another airboat. So, variations of aircraft. That looks more, well, fairly tornado-ish, I suppose. Except it's got twin tail, so I suppose that's a Yankee F, I don't know, 16, F-111, I don't know. Anyway, not too up on the newer aircraft, to be honest. We've got a radar tower as well. So this box is a fairly robust box, and it's a good job because whoever bought it I think sat on it, so no fault of Meccano there. But without further ado, let's have a look inside. Right then, let's have a look. Fairly full box again. Guess what I'm not going to mention. I do know though from reading the interwebby thing that we've got some new gears, new bevel gears in this set. So oh, we've got a fair amount of, oh, looking at that and feeling that, we've got a fair amount of nuts and bolts. So, oh, and washers, without even counting them. Look, we've got a fair amount of washers. So, oh, from that point of view, it's probably a good set without even looking any further if you want your spare nuts and bolts and washers. Of course, a lot of plastic, which is the new thing. We do have some metal parts, trying to find those gears, but we'll come on to that. So, we'll look at the parts a bit closer in a while. Fairly weighty instruction book. Yeah, average in the way it's been put together. It's not folded very well, not cut very well. I don't know, they seem rushed. That said, it does look a little bit more glossy than the previous, what, 2 or 3 sets we've looked at. That's a bit stingy, I suppose. It is quite thick anyway, but you only get 3 models in the instructions. The rest are online. 3 is a bit, yeah, a bit miserable. Usual tips there. And I could be wrong here, but I don't remember any fairly recent ones with the quick snaps. So that'll be the Ferraris really, telling you how to use the quick snaps. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Just an update actually, well, it's a small update of the Ferraris, the LaFerrari. And I found this out by doing the smaller one, the Spider, Ferrari 488 Spider. There's a cover on the plastic coating, if you like, peel off coating on the windscreen, and it's on both sides. It doesn't tell you that about the LaFerrari, so my windscreen on that is a little dull at the moment. So let's have a look at this one. A little dull, I must admit. The reds, and this goes for not just the new ones, the older multi-models reds. The reds never come out very well in the instructions for some strange reason. So this is roughly how it ought to be, folks. You've probably heard me moan and groan about instructions, but let's give you an example of how it ought to be. And I know this is early days in the instruction. Right, so obviously we've got the model we're going to make, and there's a little bonus 4x4. We've got the parts inset list here. Now there's no dark parts at the moment, so we needn't bother about the white outlining, but clear enough, large enough, and the colours of all the parts are replicated very closely from the parts inset list to the main instruction. Obviously we've got the 1-to-1, and in some way we've got a small inset picture showing you the area model of the model that you're doing. So you've got the whole model and it's highlighted, so basically it's the chassis of the fuselage, and that's there. Now there ain't a lot to it, so you're going to see all of it at the moment. Now we don't need to see all of it all the time, so we'll scoot on a few pages and see what we get. Right then. Okay. Oh, it's a classic example then. Yeah. So we're doing what looks like the mechanism for the rotors, or part of the rotors, and it's on its side by the looks of it. We don't see all the model, do we? Which is good. Those gears there, they're not listing, that's the new bevel gear there, by the way. Not listing a part number for that one there. Perhaps they only do it where there's confusion with parts, but we've got the black outlining in the parts there for the gears. Good, good. And that has been followed through here and up here. So yeah, very good. That's just about exactly as we like it. I can't complain about any of that. The instructions so far look clear enough and fairly large, without having a massive instruction book. Yeah, he's a good example. Right, now we've got most of the fuselage done by the looks of it at this stage. So, but they've highlighted it's that bit and then blowed it up, and that's what we should have had in a lot of the others recently. You don't need to see the whole chassis of the car or whatever. Yeah, same again. Look, in this case, look, they've sort of like, this is the whole thing, and this is the area we're going to do, and then they've blown it up to there. Just putting this undercarriage on. That's excellent. Black outlining again a bit there. Excellent again. Black outlining in the parts list on that one. Excellent. It's followed through. And okay, I haven't looked at every instruction, but it follows through quite nicely. Now, that is the last stage, 41. Well, not sound too bad, does it? For a fairly involved looking model, really. And then we've got this 4x4, which has to be a Defender, really, doesn't it? Or a Land Rover 90. Probably because it's got holes in it. So, a nice little bonus, you know, not bad at all. And that goes into the, carries on in the numbers for the build. Not a separate one, but that shouldn't take you too long. Very small though, very small indeed. It's neat sometimes, small models that replicate things that are a lot larger. And then we go into the other helicopter there. But yeah, so far I can't really grumble about the instructions. Oh, now here, look at the red here. The red there's come out really well indeed there. Like that. Definition is very good. Definition and not revolution, but resolution. And then we've got this plane here, which looks more like a stunt plane. I wouldn't say it's a... I think the pit specials are biplanes, weren't they? I don't know. Not really into me aircraft of anything other than really Spitfires and Hurricanes and Lancasters. Maybe the Vulcan. Anyway, parts list. Let's have a look at the contents in total. There we are. We've got four of these new bevel gears. D105s, we've got 4 of those. 48 washers. Now that must be the best set for washers for years by, I don't know, 15, 20 washers, I should say. At least most of them. There's none of those new square push-on clip stroke nut things. We've got 93 nuts. Now that's like, was that about 100 nuts? Was that 299, 399, something like that in bulk? Let's err on the lesser side. Let's say £3. and we got 60 standard bolts, which would be something like, oh, I don't know, I think 100 or 4 quid. So we've got something like £5-6 worth of standard fixings. Then the washers, so you're probably looking at, say on average, say 25 quid for the set. You're probably looking at around about a quarter of the price of the set is in standard fixings and washers. We've got some cord as well for the winch. Their old pushing pins are back as well. They are not brilliant, they're quite lanky, I find, they'll push pins. A selection of longer nuts and bolts, not that many. Some round axles, some triaxles, some metal strips, and of course all the plastic stuff as well. And just about all of those we've seen before, I think. Not overly keen on the more solid strips being plastic, I must say. I like the grip side to them, where you don't really have to use a spanner. They're a bit too chunky, really. Don't mind some plastic. I mean, let's face it, it's been around since the 1960s in Meccano, and some of that was awful. This is a far better type of plastic, but of course it is a lot more bulky. Blades, we've got 6 blades for the rotors. I don't know if those are the same as the Evolution set helicopter, because I've never got hold of one of them and don't really fancy it, to be honest. So that may or may not be a new style. So there are the instructions. Let's have a look a bit more closely at the parts. So as it's a bit of a bigger set, we won't get all the parts out, so we won't have room for them, but in here we've got a lot of these plastic P parts in different colours to what we're used to. Some metal parts. We've got a nice 1.5 inch square metal plate, but the zinc is very thin on it. You can probably see the sort of yellowy centre to it there. So the zinc at best is, looking at it, it's average. What else have we got? Ah, the blades. Let's have a look at the blades. I'll try and get into a bag. Oh no, that's not too bad. Sometimes that can be quite tough. No, these are nowhere near as long as the ones in the Evolution set. So there we are, one of the blades. Don't mind specific parts like propeller blades and stuff. I think that's a good idea. D106 they are called. And I would say about 3.5 to 4 inch long. What else have we got in here? Anything of real interest? No, can't find those gears. Let's see, we've been through that one, well, sort of. Look at this one. More blades, more plastic parts. A lot of white stuff though, which is handy to go with the space set from last year. That's not a bad set at all, that one. Tools. Ah, got them. I have found them. Got them into this bag. Oh yes, that was easy as well. Right. Oh, I never noticed on the instructions, but we seem to have 2 hinges as well. Tools, of course, and small, but we've got 2. Where are we? There they are. One there, and come here. One there. Those are like 150 each. So we've already got something like 8 quid worth with nuts, bolts, washers, and two hinges. Now where are those? 12 tooth, I think. Bevel gears. Where are you? I've seen them somewhere. Yeah, well, they're tiny. Oh, they are tiny. Don't lose them, folks. Bit of a tougher bag, this one. Right. I could do with an axle. Half a mo. So there we are, folks. That's the new bevel gear. 12 teeth, I believe. I haven't counted them. I'm sure folks are going to find that handy. Differentials, of course, they would be very handy. Don't know how much power they're going to cope with though, of course, being plastic. But they are very neat indeed. So, you know, I suppose we can get a bit carried away saying, ooh, plastic, 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 but when you get a part like that, you know, it's useful. Granted, you have to buy a hell of a lot of set to get four of them. And size-wise, of course, I could measure it for you, but I think you've got a good idea by the diameter of the axle. It's not very big. First thing to hand is a 2-inch pulley, which we've got here. There we are, 2-inch pulley, and there is your bevel gear. Just try and get it in line for you. There we are. So you can see there, and really it's not much bigger in diameter than the Boss. So there you are. Very handy part, very handy indeed. I suppose a Boss on it would be a little bit more useful, because then it wouldn't be as small, would it? But I suppose you've got to have some way of securing that on an axle, so that'll take up some space. But yeah, look at that. Like that, really like that. Best new part, I think, on the face of it for quite some time. So there we are, folks. A lot of now common parts all round, really, plus those rather nice bevel gears. Very nice indeed. Doesn't look a bad set. Some of the models do look a bit dated, a bit weird, a bit out of proportion. The main model looks very good. So that's another one. Still got plenty to come, folks. Bye for now.